Hey YouTube, Sak Guy here. Today I want to talk about the Farmer. Now you see two knives here. One is an earlier model and one is a newer model. And there's a little bit of difference, as you can see. And there's also a few other small differences in it, but the basic tool set is the same. Now the Farmer is a 93mm 3-layer Alox knife. Now some have said that they prefer the 3-layer version. Turn that up and show you that it's more comfortable than the 2-layer to use. Now, as I said, this is a 93mm model, which is 3 5/8 inches long. It is 14mm wide, which comes out to 9/16 of an inch. When it's opened, whether it's the master blade or the saw, it is 160mm, which comes out to 6 inches, 6 3/8 inches, and they weigh 86 grams, which comes out to 3 ounces. To give a little background on the Farmer, it was originally came out in 1957, and it uses the Elinox stamp on the blade right here. In 1975 they started using the Victorinox stamp, which is shown. If we can get a good see if the camera will pick that up. Your Victorinox stamp there. Now the Farmer is based on the 1961 soldier's knife that was in development before it came out, and they made the Farmer off of that. Now the earlier models were red with just the cross on them, and then see if you can pull it right. Yeah, there we go. As you can see there, that has brass liners, and also where the keyring is at is brass. The newer ones, as you can see on here, are aluminum. The other difference is that the newer models have the shield on it. In 2008, 2009, the red Farmers started coming out with the newer shield, but the older models before that had the cross on them. There are a few silver models out, silver Alox, that have the cross on it versus the shield, but they're very rare. Now, as I said earlier, the Farmer is based off the soldier's knife, and you have your opening layer along with the awl, and then the master blade. Well, let me get that there, and then the master blade there, and then in between the opening layer and your knife blade. Well, let's see if I can get it open. I have to close the awl there. is the saw. And the saw's your standard Victorinox saw, very aggressive teeth on it. It is very handy for cutting limbs and small branches and whatnot. What got me interested in the Farmer to begin with was a few years ago, back in the late 90s, I read an article where a gentleman was talking about making a small personal survival kit and basing it around the Victorinox Farmer. Now, originally he had thought about taking an Altoids can, which you can see here, and putting the Farmer in it, and then putting a few other supplies in there that he felt would be needed for a kit. Now, as you can see, the Victorinox, the Swiss Army Farmer, will not fit like that, but it will fit diagonally. But it does take up quite a bit of room, and he came to the conclusion that it kind of defeat the purpose to put it in the can, carry that in your pocket with the can, and then fill the can up with supplies that he felt would be needed. And one of the main things he was able to leave out of the contents in his article was a wire saw, because the saw on the Farmer worked a lot better. And that got me interested in the Farmer, and I went and got one, and for quite a while I carried it with me in my rotation. It is much handier than the soldier's knife for two reasons. One is the saw, and the other is the Farmer has the key ring on it. Now, what makes this handier for me is that I've got a lanyard I can hook to it, put it in my pocket. I don't have to worry about losing it. If it falls out of the pocket, it's going to dangle off my belt. And one thing I learned when I went through Air Force Survival School is attach everything that you can to your body so you don't lose it. One of the things I did is I used to have a shoelace that I would tie through my knife, and in my flight suit pocket I would tie the other end off to my zipper. That way, if the pocket was unzipped and the knife fell out, I wasn't losing my knife. And on a normal day-to-day cases, I don't do that, but when I know I'm going to be, say, climbing trees or going over rough terrain and such, I do have a tendency to tie especially my knives off to my belt or a belt loop. As I said, the saw is the main difference. And give you a little bit close up on the saw there. You might see a little bit of stuff on there. I use this one from time to time when I go camping and when I'm out in the yard doing some gardening and just taking care of the yard. Comes in very handy. One thing I would like, I know they came out with the Pioneer Plus and put scissors on the Pioneer. What I think would be cool is to turn this into a 4-layer knife, leave the saw on there and put the scissors on there, because I really like the Alox, the ruggedness of the Alox. Put the scissors on there and make this a 4-layer. And to me, a 4-layer knife is about, for ease of use and comfort, is probably the best. And that would give, in my opinion, the best toolkit for day-to-day use. Now, compare these two, and you can see the difference there with the older model having the brass liners and the newer model having the aluminum. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little review of the Farmer. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them below. And remember, always be prepared.